I'm Deb. I am a clay artist, and I've been here, I think, for, this might be my 9th season.
My name is Mike Murdock. I have been with CityArts for like a year and a half now, and I usually teach the music-based classes. So I've taught a stomp class, a world music drumming class where you use like congas, shakers, a bunch of cool stuff. And I also did a piano and bucket drumming class, which was like my first class ever here.
Well, I'm a potter. When I started teaching here, my focus was functional pottery, and now, 8 years in, my focus is art, nature-inspired sculpture, clay as a teaching tool. And I've kind of made a transition in my life from functional potter to super clay artist. I like that. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a musician mostly. I play the drum kit. I play in a bunch of different bands and do recordings and that kind of stuff. And then as far as teaching, I teach a lot of private lessons on the drum kit. I also teach at a performing arts charter school in Providence, and that's a lot of drum kit, snare drum type stuff, and a little bit of like hand drumming and that kind of thing.
Well, I think you have to really love the form you're in. You have to love what you do. And if you do, then it's very easy to share it with children. They are sponges, and they soak it up readily.
For me, actually, it's particularly easy because most of the stuff I have to do is at night, and my days are nice and free. So a lot of my teaching will happen here in the afternoons, and then, yeah, I mean, it actually works itself out pretty perfectly in my situation.
For me, they combine. They're turning into the same form. I do a lot of, we'll call it demonstration work with the children, and I find that the more intense my focus is on what we're all doing together, the greater the chances that they will be successful doing it. So I always have a little something that I'm working on, that I'm proud of, that I share with them. That works for me.
No, actually, no. They're kind of one and the same. I really enjoy teaching, actually, just as much as I enjoy playing. So,
what is a teaching artist in the okay, I'm just going to cop out on that one. It's an artist that teaches.
That's a good question. I guess to me, a teaching artist would be somebody who gets to share what they do, not so much just explain things like from a textbook or something like that. Because I guess I could easily just teach, you know, basic rhythms or world music and stuff like that from a book. But I think it's a lot more fun to like show the kids that you're just as passionate about it as you want them to be.
I've done 4 public murals with tiles and children, students, high school, junior high, and very young kids. And what happens when you take them out into the community and you give them the honor of being able to install their work in a permanent place forever, that easily changes the space that you've installed, and it also changes the child's perspective about that place. And he leaves pride there, which is also a very good teaching tool. So we accept opportunities to do public murals here with clay.
I feel like it's really important just because you're kind of creating future artists, and to share your work with others gets them inspired. And I mean, I remember when I was young and all the people who inspired me. It kind of feels good to be able to do that. I'd done a mural, I think, and so I had that experience. Structuring classes was scary because I don't have a teaching degree. I have
a clay background. So I had to kind of relearn everything that I knew in a way that I could present it to children.
I thought it was awesome, actually, that there are free arts programs for kids. Especially like around here, a lot of the schools don't have that much going on anymore. Yeah, I thought it was a really great program. I was really happy to be a part of it. Especially when I came in, there wasn't any other music classes going on, so it was kind of cool to be have that whole area to myself.
Well, I applied here. You know, they put out the call everywhere, and I saw an ad for a mural artist, and that's why I came in to do a public mural. So we did that, and then I stayed. I didn't. They chose me. I didn't choose them. I didn't know about CityArts before I answered their ad and came here.
Again, I mean, I just like to share my passion with others, and especially with the two age groups at CityArts, like the 8 to 10-year-olds are kind of like the younger kids, and they're still like full of wonder, and they don't really hate everything yet. Like the 11 to 14-year-olds, they're kind of getting too cool to be a part of it. But so with the younger kids, I really like to see just how into it they can get. And then with the older kids, I like to see like how cool they can still feel while still I can tell that they're pretty into it. So that's kind of fun.
It has to be seeing the pride that children have in what they create and seeing them take it with them.
I guess the most rewarding part for me is to get that final product, because we work for an entire session. Like the most recent one that I did was 2 weeks. It was a 2-week session, and it was like a 3-hour class, Monday through Thursday for those 2 weeks. And like the kids really didn't get tired of the class or anything. Like I don't even know if I could sit through a 3-hour class without kind of fading, but it felt really good to just see that they were pretty engaged the entire time.
Controlling the class was difficult at the start here. And I've figured out over time how to do that in a good way. So that was difficult to figure out how I could create in an environment where kids were just coming at me for everything, and it took me a while to sort it all out, sort out their needs, and prioritize. So
the first class that I ever taught, I remember being like terrified because there were only like 8 kids in it, I think, but it was still really intimidating because I think they were all in 8th grade at the time. But yeah, it's kind of the same the first time I taught here. Like I realized that the kids are more into it than I expected, and then I started to get more into it, and then everything kind of reciprocated. It was great.
I know what works for me. I don't really have a general philosophy. I think you have to be honest with kids. And I think when you're not, they know, because they're running on instinct. They don't have a lot of knowledge, so they can tell when you're honest with them.
I found in particular with like music and learning rhythms and technique and things like that everybody learns a little bit differently. So I guess my philosophy is just to take time with everybody and make sure that they're having fun. Like, it's not really a stressful thing.
I just started doing a feedback survey. What did you like most about the class, and what did you like least? And I'm going to, hold off on answering your question, because it's deep. And I think that they really love the material, and the material as a teaching tool is entirely valid. So we can study Egypt and make clay. We did whaling, and we did really cool sperm whale teeth that were etched like scrimshaw, made out of clay. We just did sea life for the summertime and insects and plants in the spring. So you can use the clay to teach about something, and that's much more interesting than just teaching functional pottery, even when the kids go on the potter's wheels. We have new wheels here. We're very proud of them. They're a big step for the clay studio, and I want to be able to integrate that tool into a study about wheel work or a study about nature, and have the students reflect what they learn about that onto the surface of the pottery. That's my new take.
I'd like to think that after taking a class with me, they would think more seriously and more critically about the music that they listen to in the future, and then hopefully want to pursue some kind of music, like whether it be just learning an instrument or just listening to new styles and stuff like that. I just like to think that this would like push them to just get more into music and art in general.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in my early stage of life, so I enjoy having them realize that, their grandparents, for example, have lots to share and lots to give, and that when people reach a certain age, they really do know a lot. So,
I guess some students more than others. Like, I have had one student for like a couple sessions, and he actually took a class with me, the world music drumming class, when I taught it back in, I think it was October of this past year. And then he didn't go to CityArts again, and then heard that I was coming back, and then signed up just for my class again. And he is actually a great example of someone who's like, he wants to go to a school that has like a marching band in it, because before and after class he would always ask me questions about that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, in some cases I guess I feel like I can be a role model to them.
A lot of the teachers that I've worked with, some professional artists, I could name many. There are quite a few accomplished clay artists in the state, and we find each other, and there are a lot of events, public events, where we share, a lot of gallery shows and so on.
For me, it was like a bunch of people. I mean, I first started taking private lessons when I was 13. That's really when I first started playing drums. And then from then on, it was like my high school band director was a huge influence, and he was like super supportive and kind of helped me decide that I wanted to do music and helped me decide where I wanted to go to college. And yeah, from then on, it was sort of that, and then also my peers, because I always hung out with a lot of people who also played music. So it was sort of like I would hang out with other drummers, and you'd kind of challenge yourself and challenge each other, and then you'd hang out with other musicians and just kind of have fun and play together.
Is everything about art? Mm-hmm. No. Everything is about everything. I am very cultural, and I would like to further that. Very seldom do I teach about art. I teach about social issues and the environment, stewardship, responsibility, being able to take care of yourself, be responsible, be careful, be respectful, all that, and how the animals function and where they live and that. And seldom do I teach about art. I mention it. Professional artists sign their work. How cute is that? Yeah. I mention it in passing, but I try to make it fun.
I guess not really. I mean, most of it is based in art and music, but we kind of branch out into other things. Like, I feel like a huge part of being a musician is just kind of being a good person to work with, and I kind of have to instill that into them, because it's really all about like group work and teamwork. It's not about one person playing their part and not focusing at all on anything else that's going on. So it's really important for them to kind of get that first and foremost. So that's something that I try and teach.
I think all of them will. The experiences that they gather here, life-lasting, absolutely. This is a great place.
Some of them I know definitely will. Others, I'm not sure. I think it kind of hits everyone differently. I mean, I think that throughout CityArts as a whole. Like if it's someone who's not that into music, I know that they're really into like some kind of visual art. Like I had one student in my past class who would be engaged and was into it, but I could tell like it wasn't his thing. But then like before and after class, I'd see him like drawing in his little sketchbook, and he'd have like the coolest little like cartoon characters drawn and stuff. So I think if not for my particular class, them going forward, I know somewhere at CityArts someone is finding like something that they click with that they're gonna pursue.
All the time. That happens all the time. I'm not satisfied until it does. And I mentioned that to them. I want you to be proud of this. And in order to do that, you have to work on it some more. You have to refine it. You have to give it a name, a title, a reason to be, all that. Yes. Now, are you proud of it? Oh, let's work on it some more. So.
Yeah. Actually, there's been quite a few, actually, and that always feels really awesome for me. But I'm actually going to talk about my previous session, so not this past one in the summer, but before that I taught through CityArts for the Providence After School Alliance, and I taught at Essex Hopkins and Nathan Bishop Middle Schools. And for one of my Nathan Bishop classes, there was like 5 kids by the end of it. Like we started off with like 10, and then slowly they kind of faded, but those 5 would get really discouraged that like there was no one in the class, but it kind of caused them to just work even harder to make the performance sound good. And then by the end, like they were all ecstatic at how good they got the performance to sound. And it was really great.
Well, there's a sign outside. It's kind of cool. We have great art outside, tile murals, very inviting things outside the building that they see in this community. And word gets around that it's free. You can come here. It doesn't cost anything. And so you have to want to be an artist in order to be here. But if you want to be an artist, then this is the place. And the word gets around the neighborhood.
I think there's a couple reasons. I think one, it's just to kind of see what it's like, because there's really nothing to lose. I mean, it's this free art program. You get to go, you get to learn something new. And then I feel like on the other hand, there's not that many other things going on for that age group. And yeah, I feel like it's just, I know a lot of kids who kind of will come in because they heard that their friend was doing it or something like that, and their friend liked it. So I think it's kind of a word of mouth thing too at this point.